Smart spending is one of the fastest ways to turn your money from a source of stress into a pillar of strength. Hey everybody, welcome to Thrifty Budgeting. Today we're talking smart spending, just a few simple habits that can help your money go further, your worries shrink, and your future feel a little more solid. But first, let's break down what smart spending really means and why it's about more than just chasing the lowest price. Smart spending isn't just about pinching pennies or even hunting for the cheapest deal. It's a strategic, intentional way of handling your money, making sure that every dollar you spend will support your long-term goals and reflect your true priorities. When you focus on quality, necessity, and real value, you're not just saving money, you're building a lifestyle that balances enjoyment today with security tomorrow. So where do you start with smart spending? A great first step is to ditch the plastic. Credit cards can feel like a handy sidekick until they start acting like a villain in your financial story. While they offer convenience and rewards, if they're not managed carefully, they come with a huge list of downsides. For starters, there's the high interest rates. If you carry a balance month to month, that means that you're paying way more for your purchases than you bargained for. Then there's the temptation to overspend. Swiping a card doesn't feel like spending real money, does it? That little disconnect can really quickly snowball, though, into a debt of financial stress. And let's not forget those sneaky fees and penalties. Late payments, cash advances, going over your limit. Each mistake comes with a price tag here. Your credit score also will take a hit if you rack up high balances or miss payments, making future loans or even major purchases more expensive down the line. So even reward programs, which seem like a sweet deal, can often come with complicated terms that make it hard to actually benefit unless you're paying close attention. And whatever you do, don't overlook those annual fees. Some cards charge a yearly cost that can wear down your finances, especially if you're juggling more than one. That's why using cash for everyday purchases can be a total game changer. And here's why cash still rocks. There's no fees or interest. What you spend is what you spend, period. You have better control. Seeing your money physically leave your hands makes you think twice before spending. Another benefit of cash is you also have more privacy since cash doesn't leave a digital trail. Cash is also widely accepted, especially for small purchases where cards might not even be an option. Ditching the plastic might feel like a small move, but it's a huge step toward making your smart spending habits stick for the long haul. Now, don't forget that part of smart spending is building an emergency fund. So imagine this. You're cruising through life and everything's fine, and then suddenly life takes a hard turn left. Maybe it's a surprise medical bill, a sudden car repair, an appliance that picks the worst possible moment to quit. And that's when having an emergency fund really comes in handy. It gives you a little breathing room so a surprise expense doesn't throw your whole budget into chaos. Like a raccoon loose in the kitchen pantry. True story. He didn't take much, but he definitely made a mess of everything we actually needed. And honestly, this is a great example of what an emergency fund helps prevent financial messes that you don't see coming. Now, an emergency fund is simply a stash of money set aside for real emergencies, the kind that could otherwise derail your budget or push you into debt. It's not about extravagance either. It's about peace of mind. So now the question is, when should you start building one? And spoiler alert, yesterday. But don't worry, today works just fine too. Now, the sooner you start, the faster that you can create that buffer between you and financial chaos. Now, ideally, your emergency fund should cover 3 to 6 months worth of essential expenses, but don't let that number scare you off. Even setting aside $500 can make a world of difference and could be the very thing that stops you from reaching for high interest credit card when things get rocky. So why does this matter so much. Because an emergency fund isn't just about money, it's about options. So when life hits you with the unexpected, you won't be scrambling, panicking, or most importantly, going into debt. You'll have the flexibility to be able to handle the situation calmly without sinking your financial ship. So, how do you build it? Great question. As with anything, you want to start with a clear goal, maybe 1 month's worth of expenses to start. So you'll want to set up automatic transfers into a separate savings account. So you're paying your emergency fund first, just like any other bill. So to jumpstart your emergency fund, one thing that you can do is cut back on non-essentials for a while, just a while. So skip a few takeouts or hit the pause button on that extra streaming service, and then funnel those savings straight into your emergency stash. Also, if you've got a side hustle or some unused stuff collecting dust, that extra cash can give your fund a nice little boost as well. Every bit helps, and it adds up faster than what you think. So now that you've got some money going, where should you keep it? You want to go with something safe, separate, and easy access, like a high-yield savings account. That way, your emergency fund stays available when you need it, but it's still out of easy reach when temptation strikes. And remember, it's an emergency fund, not a vacation fund, no matter how good those travel deals look. By starting today, staying consistent, and treating your emergency fund like the VIP it is, you're really giving yourself a gift: the ability to weather storms without losing your financial footing. Now, a close cousin of creating an emergency fund is planning for occasional expenses. Now, life has a way of keeping us on our toes, and while some things truly catch us off guard, others tend to sneak up on us, even though they happen every 6 months to a year. So the occasional expenses that we're talking about are ones that you can see coming if you pause and plan ahead. Now, for example, think annual car registration, back to school supplies, annual subscriptions, family vacations. These once in a while costs aren't emergencies, but they can definitely throw your budget off course if you forget to plan for them. So the key here is to plan ahead without overcomplicating it. Now, you can either build a little extra cushion to your main savings or use a simple system like naming a savings goal in your account so you know exactly what the money's for. It doesn't have to be a separate account unless you want it to be. Now, the point though is to expect those costs and to set a little aside each month to cover them. Now, even small contributions can really add up quickly, so when those bills do roll around, you're not going to find yourself scrambling or dipping into your emergency fund because you'll already have it covered. Think of it like checking the calendar and grabbing a jacket before you leave the house. I mean, you might not need it right this second, but you'll be glad you brought it when the weather turns. By building this habit into your smart spending strategy, these surprise costs become just another part of your plan and not a financial curveball. So now that you're building cash stashes, you can save even more by simplifying your expenses. Now, if your budget feels tight, like jeans straight out of the dryer tight, it might be time to take a closer look and see where your money's sneaking off to. I mean, a lot of us have these tiny leaks in our spending. You know, those little costs that can drain our finances without adding real value to our lives. Any good news? Yeah, finding and fixing these leaks is simple, and it's a great way that you can free up cash for yourself faster than you can say monthly subscription. So start by taking inventory of your spending habits of everything. You'll be able to see where those leaks are and then start cauterizing them. Ask yourself questions like, are you paying for streaming services that you haven't touched since last summer's binge watch? And what about grabbing those drive-through dinners a little more often than you intended? Small changes to like brewing your coffee at home or cooking a few extra servings for leftovers can stack up some serious savings over time. And don't worry, it's not about cutting every little joy out of your life. It's about being intentional and trimming the fat where it doesn't serve you anymore. So now that you got a feel for where the small leaks are hiding, let's zoom in on one of the sneakiest ones there is: those recurring charges you might not even notice anymore. Now, subscriptions, memberships, automatic payments, they're what I like to call silent budget busters. Now look, if a subscription doesn't make you happy or serve a clear purpose, just cancel it. Be done with it. You really might be surprised at how many sneaky little charges have slipped in under the radar simply because they renew automatically. I mean, a $10 app here, a $15 subscription there, and before you know it, you're spending hundreds a year without even realizing it. Now, an important component is practice mindful spending. Before you make that purchase, hit the pause button, ask yourself, hey, do I need this or do I just want it? Now, taking a moment to delay gratification can help you avoid impulse buys that don't actually align with your bigger goals. It's not about deprivation. It's about putting your dollars toward what really matters. Whether it's saving for your dream vacation, paying off debt, or growing your emergency fund, intentional spending makes a bigger difference than you might think. Bottom line, simplifying your expenses doesn't mean living a boring, unhappy life. It means clearing the clutter so that your money can actually fuel the future that you want. So now that you're saving money, let's talk about how to master the art of shopping. Smart shopping isn't just about snagging the lowest price. It's really about making sure that every dollar you spend is doing some heavy lifting. The goal? Stretch your money and get real value out of every purchase. So one thing you can do is start by timing your purchases strategically. Now, stores tend to follow predictable sales cycles. Think of end of season clearances, holiday discounts, or back to school deals. Now, if you can hold off until the right moment, you can save a bundle without even trying too hard. So if you want to stretch your savings even further, one thing that you can do is stack your strategies. Use coupons, loyalty programs, and cashback apps on top of the sales prices. Yeah, it's like giving your savings a double shot of espresso. Boom! Jabba, jabba, jabba. Also, for items that you buy a lot, one thing you can do is start buying them in bulk. I mean, that can be a smart move, but only if you do the math. So be sure to check the price per unit to make sure that you're actually getting a deal. And of course, you want to be realistic when you do this because, I mean, there's really no point in buying 100 bananas if half of them will turn into sad brown mush before you can eat them all, because that's just, well, bananas. Now, another key move is price comparison, and it's so easy because you don't even have to leave your couch to be a savvy shopper. There are apps that you can use and websites that you can check prices across different stores before you actually hit buy. So a few extra minutes of research can save you some serious cash. Now, here's a big one that often gets overlooked, and that's to think beyond the price tag. What do we mean? Look, you don't want to just grab the cheapest item. You have to consider quality, durability, and overall value. Sometimes spending a little more upfront on something that lasts will save you from having to replace it 3 times over, like buying a quality pair of shoes instead of bargain bin ones that fall apart in a few months, or choosing better made towels that don't fray and fade after a handful of washes. Now, if you're shopping for big ticket items like appliances or electronics, don't be afraid to negotiate. All they can say is no, but seriously, a simple polite, "Is there any wiggle room on this price?" has saved shoppers hundreds of dollars. Try it. I do all the time. You'd be surprised at how often it works. Now, smart shopping isn't about being cheap. It's about being intentional. So when you shop with a plan and a purpose, your money goes a lot further and you'll feel a lot better about what you're bringing home. So now that you have the 4 corners of spending budgeting nailed, don't forget to invest in your future. So planning for future might not feel urgent today, especially when there's always something more exciting calling for your money right now. But trust me, your future self, or as I like to call it, your tomorrow you, will be seriously grateful that you started today. And believe me, when you hit age 65 or a little older, you will be so happy that you started today. Because honestly, one of the smartest moves that you can make is by start investing in your retirement. Contributing to retirement accounts like 401k or IRA is a powerful way for you to be able to make your money work for you even while you sleep. Yeah. Now, if your employer offers a 401k with a matching program, don't leave that free money on the table. Don't. Think of it. Even if it's just enough to get the full match, that's essentially like giving yourself a raise without any extra work. And honestly, who's saying no to that? So a good general goal is to aim for 10 to 15% of your income that goes toward your retirement savings. Now, if that feels a little intimidating right now, especially since you're getting started, don't sweat it. Start smaller if you need to. The key is consistency. Even small contributions made steadily over time can snowball into something truly impressive, thanks to the magic of compound interest. Now, think of it like this. It's a little like planting a tree. I mean, you might not see huge growth overnight, but give it time, and someday you'll have a solid shade to relax under. So another thing to consider is you want to increase your contributions over time. That means whenever you get a raise, a bonus, or pay off a debt, consider bumping up your retirement savings by a percent or two. I mean, you probably won't even miss the money. By making investing a regular part of your smart spending strategy, you're not just saving, you're building security, building freedom, and building a life where money supports your dreams instead of holding you back. I mean, smart spending is your secret weapon. Every smart choice that you make now is a step toward freedom that you deserve. And trust me, it's so worth it. Until next time, stay thrifty.